And thank you so much for staying with us. I was talking to you excitedly earlier about the social justice champions that we're going to announce later, but you've just seen their work, but we'll talk about it more in a bit. But let's just welcome in Professor Donzella. Quite a morning, hasn't it been? How do you feel about the support from the Department of Justice?
I'm overjoyed by, firstly, the fact that the minister accepted the invitation to be part of this, but his speech really set out the framework that government is planning to follow in terms of integrating social justice in everything it does. And it makes sense, actually, that the Minister of Justice leads the way, because
Absolutely.
It is the custodian of the Constitution. It is a Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Development, and he has now set a framework. For me, what we will do actually is take his speech, frame it in such a way that we can send it to the other departments, municipalities, and everyone, and say, according to a representative of government who's in charge of the Constitution.
Here's the commitment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally awesome.
Yes.
Prof, lovely morning, as I said.
It's been.
And we're now moving on. But just whenever we speak about the Social Justice Summit, you are the person we speak about. But there's a need for proper governance, and you've been working on this as well, amongst all the other activities you've been working on in relation to this. Let's just go through now. A council has been put up. Talk to us about that process and how it came about.
Absolutely. A project that seeks to work for the people and is going to get funds from the people can't be managed by a handful of academics, as we've been doing. And the concept paper always had a council, a social justice council, that was going to look after the fund, the social justice fund, and oversee the programs under the M Plan for Social Justice. It just took a while to firstly do the investigation, research the kinds of people we needed on the council, because they should be people who are already working on social justice matters. And because I say you never hire a person to do things they've never done before.
True.
And lastly, it was then approaching them and making sure that they were willing to serve.
Well, I'm sure you want to know who those people are, so let's just quickly take you through the list of the Council of Champions. First, it's Professor Vom De Villiers. He's the Rector and Vice Chancellor for Stellenbosch University. Of course, it's important to have him on as a champion for this project, as a leader within Stellenbosch University. The co-chairperson is a well-known South African personality, proud to say also a friend of mine, Basetsana Julia Basi Kumalo, who's the executive chairman and CEO of Basetsana Women Investment Holdings. Also, we have, like you said, Prof, people who are already involved in this manner. And Wendy Ackerman is definitely one of those people, co-founder and executive director of Pick and Pay Holdings. Dr. Bonisile John Gani, actor, director, and playwright, needs no introduction, but absolutely wonderful to have him in this list. Justice Yvonne Mojoro, the former Justice of the Constitutional Court of South Africa, also forms part of the council. Sello Hatang, the Chief Executive of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And we also have Doreen Morris, television anchor and producer, one of the greatest producers of the Miss South Africa contest. And lovely to see her here. Kate Robinson, the co-founder of One Young World. Busisiwe Mavuso, Chief Executive Officer of the Business Leadership South Africa. Felicia Mabuza Sattel, a businesswoman and former talk show host and author. Futim Toba, the former chair and partner of the board of Deloitte South Africa, who's also a founder of Teach SA. Dr. Beatrice Wood, the Ashraf Garda Foundation of Champion SA and host of the Ashraf Garda podcast. Advocate Kolima Duna, the executive at the South African Revenue Services SARS Tax Court Litigation. Professor Sakela Buhlungu, you heard we spoke to him earlier on when we were speaking to the Vice Chancellors. What an inspirational speaker. He's the Vice Chancellor of the University of Fort Hare. We also have Professor Francis Peterson, the Rector and Vice Chancellor of the University of the Free State, who we also spoke with. Neil Coleman, the co-director of the Institute for Economic Justice. Judge Edwin Cameron, former Constitutional Court judge and Chancellor of Stellenbosch University. What an amazing list.
It's such a privilege that these great South Africans, including former South Africans like Felicia and Kate Robertson, are willing to join their lights to have a very systematic, grounds-up approach to advancing social justice. That doesn't mean they will stop doing these other things that they're doing, but it means they're coming into this quadruple helix, which is what the Vice Chancellor referred to, which is government, business, society, and the academia joining hands to advance social justice.
The President calls them the compacts.
Exactly, that's a compact. I do want to just clarify that Futim Toba said she won't be coming in immediately because she's still sorting out. She still needs to discard something that she's been on because she's not allowed to have too many. And that's quite integrity. She's not allowed to have too many responsibilities. And also to clarify that the Vice Chancellor is co-chair of Vom De Villiers, is also co-chair of the council.
Absolutely.
The Social Justice
Council. Beautiful list. And as you said, people we already see and know in terms of their involvement. But now that very exciting moment, and we're asking you these questions. What does it mean to be a social justice champion? What for you stood out with the nominees, who we're going to talk about just now? Prof, 2020 selected social justice champions. You saw his work just earlier. Kabelo Mahlobo-Kwane. He's the national spokesperson of Educators Union South Africa and co-founder and managing director of the Marking app. Let's just talk about Kabelo a bit. I don't know if we're able to play that video as we have this conversation. But Kabelo Mahlobo-Kwane is an educator, education activist, social entrepreneur, speaker, and a unionist. He holds a bachelor's degree in education from the University of Pretoria. He recently graduated from a leadership course which was hosted by the Young African Leaders Initiative in partnership with the Trevor Noah Foundation, where he was awarded a grant for his company project called the Marking app, a mobile app which auto-marks school assessments and gives learners access to immediate feedback with the aim of reducing the administration load for the teachers so that they can focus on quality teaching and preparation with the end result of improving education outcomes in South Africa, and the world. He helped form a trade union which organizes within the education sector the Educators Union of South Africa, which he serves as national spokesperson. He's the chief ambassador for the Tuma Foundation, which is a foundation that was founded by former South African public protector sitting right next to me, Professor Thuli Madonsela. He's also the chairman of the Young Education Changemakers Summit, which ran a successful program called the Homeschooling Support Program, which is aimed at assisting parents with homeschooling during level 5 and 4 of the COVID-19 lockdown. He led and participated in many campaigns, including Fees Must Fall, Outsourcing Must Fall, Afrikaans Must Fall, Historic Walk, and the Midnight Train to Beira, amongst others. He is the first chairperson of the EFF Students' Command at the University of Pretoria. He has spoken in international conferences like the Athens Democracy Forum in Greece and the inaugural Social Justice Summit and International Conference, which was hosted by Stellenbosch University last year. Kabelo is passionate about education as a tool to bring about democracy and social justice. He's recently been elected the curriculum coordinator for the Young African Leaders Initiative South African chapter and was listed in Inside Education's 100 Shining South African Stars for 2020. He's an advocate for epic leadership and he looks up to Professor Thuli Madonsela as a role model. You saw his work earlier, and if you would like to go back and revisit his work, you can go back on our link as soon as it's available online. But let's not talk about the second champion, that's Yvonne Hendricks. Yvonne is a law student at Stellenbosch University and founder of Creating Leaders Amongst Youth, or CLAY. He is a law student, as I said, founder of CLAY, and ambassador for the Tuma Foundation. His foundation promotes the support of local underprivileged students for admission to Stellenbosch University. Just a little bit more about the CLAY Foundation. It was involved in numerous COVID-19 relief efforts, including the distribution of food and masks, as well as using time to build a hiking route for Ida's Valley to wine farms. The aim is to intentionally reroute tourism through previously disadvantaged areas in Stellenbosch. So there you have it, your champions there, Prof.
Well, firstly, congratulations to Kabelo and Ian. Both of them are linked to Stellenbosch University, and they also both linked to the Tuma Foundation. But their winning had nothing to do with either, although indirectly it might have, and it says something about access and disadvantage, in that although the advert was made to all, for those who already know that this is happening, it was easier to just key up and submit. But both of them were selected by the public and voted for by the public. Hopefully that in future, now that other people know about this process, we'll have more people selecting people and more people voting in the process. But I honestly don't want to take away from these young people simply because they are linked to us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And also because you have the council now,
yes,
you're able to allow the public to interact with the process throughout the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually, you are absolutely right there, Desiree. The process moves away from my team, Marna, Dai, Wendy, and the social justice ambassadors, and it goes to the council, and they will have a judging panel, which will be people outside the university that will do that.
But I
must say, though, there was an advert to the public.
Yeah.
The public were asked to nominate, and there was an app for people to vote. But having said that, it shows you about using IT, using digital platforms to talk to the people. The very same complaint I leveled against government is coming to us. And with my team, we did say that going forward, we have to go to the ground so that a kid in the middle of Vaba can be nominated. A grandmother in the middle of Paarl who's
doing work for her community.
Exactly, can also be nominated and voted for, because it's not restricted to young people. It's more like the community builder of the year. It's any person who has moved mountains to advance social justice. And in the spirit of the M plan, because the M plan is not about pointing fingers, it's about rolling your own sleeves.
Is it important for you that they impact a big number of people, or can the impact just be for a community? If it's a meaningful impact.
It can be a community, because if you look at Ian, for example, he has impacted the community of Ida's Valley.
With that pathway.
And with the pathway, but his CLAY Foundation, as can be seen in the pictures, is about making sure that students, children from Ida's Valley get to know about opportunities, get engaged after school, get to know about possibilities in life, and therefore they're able to dream big and to follow their dreams.
Prof, the producers are rushing me to finish off, so just a quick one. Your impression of the rest of the morning up to now?
It's been amazing. I think the conference organization by the organizers has been amazing. The people of South Africa and the world have responded positively to this call that we join hands, or have all hands on deck to advance social justice. And the speakers have been out of this world. So much commitment, so much knowledge. And when we put together this report, anybody can have a sense of what's being done on social justice, what are the challenges, where do I fit in if I want to move the needle? Yes.
Right. The second annual Social Justice Summit. All hands on deck. We leave no one behind in the post-COVID-19 recovery agenda. Thank you so much for being with us thus far. We're going to take a short break, some entertainment in the interim, but when we return, we'll have different conversations as we rush towards, or as we go towards the end of this day's program. See you later.